Are you having issues performing your glute ham raise, or are you looking for a way to make them harder? Well, here today, I'm gonna help you with progressions and regressions of the glute ham raise so you're not gonna have to leave the glute ham raise. You're not gonna be doing leg curls or any other kind of glute and hamstring exercises. These are all regressions and progressions right here at the glute ham raises. Let's get to it. Hey there, Brandon Swilly here from Thirst Gym, and I'm gonna help you improve your glute ham raise technique, but also help you find the ideal exercise variation of the glute ham raise that's ready for your level. The issue with the glute ham raise is that it's such a challenging exercise that many people just can't do a straight up classic glute ham raise rep. And that's entirely okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I know whenever I first got a glute ham raise and I bought this exact same glute ham raise, this is the one that was in my garage, I struggled to do them even as an elite level powerlifter. And that's the reason that I invested in one, was to bring up my posterior chain. I'm gonna have a video linked in the description box below to give you more posterior chain exercises that can help you get better at that. But again, I wanna get back to just talking about the good old fashioned glute ham raise and why it's so difficult. Just to let you know, the glute ham raise is unique and it's gonna train our hamstrings at both the hip and the knee joint. It's a very unique muscle action that doesn't happen a whole lot in sports or how you train, but the glute ham raise is one of those few exercises that can duplicate it with your hamstrings. And so when we come to our glute ham raise, we wanna make sure that it's set up ideal for us. So we're gonna talk about setup, execution, and then those progressions and regressions. All right, when it comes to setting up your glute ham raise, you wanna make sure that your knees are here at the back of the pad, okay? Or towards the top. What we don't wanna have is that our knee below the actual pad. They wanna be on the pad. So I already know where I'm at with this glute ham raise, again, because I've had it for so long. But I'm going to make sure that I loosen these up, move this into the position that needs to be moved into for me, and then I'm gonna re-tighten it. Once I've got this tightened, then I get up on the glute ham raise, feet go in the support straps here. I'm up nice and tall, nice and vertical. I'm gonna let my body come all the way down, knees are straight, and then pull myself up. That would be an ideal glute ham raise rep. So let's talk about what you're gonna do if you can't do that. Our regression number one that I recommend is just focusing on the eccentric aspect of the exercise. So you're just gonna set it up as you normally would with your traditional glute ham raise, and we're just gonna focus on the eccentric aspects. That's gonna be the lowering phase. And so what you're gonna do ideally at a minimum of 3 seconds, but more like 5 seconds is kind of the sweet spot. So you're gonna go 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, and then you're just gonna help yourself back up to the position again. And again, you're just gonna continue to focus on those eccentrics, getting nice and strong from the eccentric aspect. And what that's gonna do, that's gonna strengthen your hamstrings so that hopefully you can do a full repetition or get closer to it. Now, the second thing that I recommend is once you've done that, you've built up to doing some eccentrics, you've gotten stronger so you can actually control yourself, because that is gonna be challenging, I will let you know that. Then what we're gonna do is called a razor curl, okay? And so for the razor curl, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're now going to be in that position, and I'm going to lower for 5 seconds, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. From here, I'm gonna shoot my butt straight backwards and then help myself back up. So I'm giving myself a little bit of that leg curl aspect that the glute ham raise has, making it a little more challenging. And again, we would just progress this as we're doing and trying to get more and more reps with every single set that I'm doing or training day that I'm doing. Now, the next thing that we're gonna do, if you want to try to build up to doing them well, you're going to elevate the front. So just for a brief example here, I'm gonna take this one mat that I have, I'm gonna bring it out by my glute ham raise, raise my glute ham raise up, and I'm gonna raise the front of that up by just an inch. Now, an inch is not a lot, but ideally we would wanna raise it up 3, 4, 5, 6 inches so that you can do your reps. And then by elevating that front, that's going to bring that pad pulled back towards me, going to make sure that when I'm at here at the top, it's helping me from the bottom, and this is not as hard of a position to be able to do. Again, you wanna make sure you've got this raised up enough. Again, 3 inches I think is kind of the minimum. I raise it up just an inch, just so I could have a demonstration purpose here for you today. All right, the next thing that we're going to do to help you get better at the glute ham raise is give you some assistance. So I've got a PVC pipe here, but you could also use a training partner or any kind of pole that you would like. It more likely is gonna help you do what you wanna do. You're going to come up here, just get in your normal glute ham raise position. You're going to control your eccentric as usual. And then you can start with the pull on the ground, or if you want to make it harder, just keep the pull in your hands. But generally for most people starting off this way, I recommend keeping the pull on the ground. And what you're gonna do is you're just gonna walk down the pole, and then you're gonna push yourself back up the pole to be able to perform your repetitions. And so the goal here is to only help yourself up the pole as much as you need to be able to do the reps appropriately. And then this kind of stacks as well, is that you can also stack this with raising the front of it as well. So you can stack a couple different things here to make sure that you can do your full repetitions. And then once you've got this portion of it down, now we're gonna try to take the pull away. And what we're gonna then do is then move the pad further away from where it should be. So I got my pad where it needs to be. That's where I optimally had it. I could scoop my pad back, just one hole. And now what's gonna happen is that my knees are actually slightly lower than the glute ham raise, which ideally is not what you want. But if you're wanting to try to do them without any kind of assistance, that's going to make your lever arm shorter, making it easier to perform the exercises. So that's all the ways that you can regress your glute ham raise to be able to make them bearable enough. You can get some quality repetitions, get better at your glute ham raises, build your posterior chain, and get to where you're doing several repetitions, which then is ultimately going to help you be a better athlete or be stronger. Now let's talk about some ways you can make this more challenging. Let's say if you're already not. All right, to make the glute ham raise a bit more challenging, we're essentially going to take some of the principles we did for making it easier, but flipping those around so that we can make the repetitions harder. The first one is going to be very, very simple. You're just going to add weight or band resistance to the exercise to make it more challenging. So I'm just gonna get up on my glute ham raise, and for me to make this more challenging for me, I grab me a 10-pound plate. I'm going to hold it across my chest, and then from here across my chest, I'm just gonna go down, perform my glute ham raise, and then come back up. So having that weight in front of me is going to also load my body up, so I'm having to pull up more weight than I would normally have to do when I do the glute ham raise. Now, the other thing that you could do, let's say I tried to add that 10 pounds and it was just too much, okay? So for whatever reason, I'm kind of stuck in between body weight and weighted. Now we're gonna just change where we place our hands. So the first place I'd recommend starting with your reps, just having your hands by your side. That's going to be the easiest variation to be able to do them. The next of them, take your arms, place them across your chest. You're taking the weight of your arms, bringing them where that weight was, med ball, kettlebell, whatever it is you're holding. Come down, and that's going to make it a little bit more challenging. The next step, hands behind the head. Again, we're moving them further away from our knee joint here. That's going to make the exercise a little bit harder. And then the last thing that we could do is we could take our hands and reach straight out in front of us. And while it feels a little awkward, it does make it much harder than you think it would. So take our arms straight up. We're gonna come out here and then pull up. So I've got a different way that I can level this up to getting towards the weighted aspect of the glute ham raise. Now, the other thing that you can do, let's say the weighted's okay, you're looking for a way to mix it up, you wanna make it a little harder, you can perform tempo reps. So again, we're just gonna do our normal 5-second eccentric like we kind of did with our regression, but now we're gonna tempo ourselves back up and or hold that straight position for a second to really improve and increase the time under tension that we're having on our hamstrings while we do the exercise. So this is gonna be a little bit challenging for me as well. So right here, going down nice and slow and controlled, hold for a second, 1001, 1002, 1003, going up nice and slow. Same thing, controlling the repetition here, 1001, and then 1001, 1002, 1003, making sure I'm pulling more slow and controlled, similar that I would do if I was on a machine. Now, the last way that you can make the glute ham raise significantly harder, other than weight, tempo, changing stuff, would be to elevate the back. So I'm not gonna go through that today in terms of actually doing it, but I'm gonna show you what happens to the pad. So here's where the pad is. If I elevated the back, notice that the pad decreases down. And so what happens when we do that is as my body goes down, I'm at a bigger lever and gravity is hitting my hamstrings even harder as I go to come up. And the full erect position of the exercise is only going to have me here keeping more tension on my hamstrings throughout the whole range of motion. So those are the ways that you can progress the exercise to make your glute ham raises harder so that you can continue to make those glute hamstring gains. I was gonna wrap up today's video on the glute ham raise and how to adjust it based on where you're at with the certain progressions and regressions that I talked about in this video. Now, there's gonna be several different ways that you can go about this. Just experiment with the different variations, find what works best for you, let you happen to get several quality repetitions so you can continue to improve your glute and your hamstring strength specific for your goals, whether it be running, jumping, being faster, being more explosive, improving your squat and your deadlift. This exercise can help with it all. So if you happen to take one awesome thing away from this video, do me a favor, smash that like button, share it with a friend, leave a comment and let me know which variation you took away from this that you're gonna use. It's gonna help you improve your glute ham raise and your posterior chain strength. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for checking in, and I'll see you at the next video.